Today's conversation is on relationships with respect to a particular insight. And that is that I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. We're in beautiful Playa Car in Mexico. These are the Playa Car ruins. We're going to take a look and enjoy our conversation today. So I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. Now, an important aspect of human relationships is living the relationships, whether they be romantic relationships, friendships, business relationships, family relationships, relationships with all people, from the sure foundation of existence. We could say there is no higher love than the love of God. There is no higher happiness than the happiness of God. There is no higher bliss than the bliss of God. So I spring from the sure foundation that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. There is no higher peace than the peace of God, the fulfillment of God. And you can experience the love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment of God, as God is the source of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, by doing nothing. You don't need to do anything to experience profound love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And why this is helpful in relationships is, let's say, if they don't seem to find it, this generates illusions of I, conditions of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And by that I mean very specifically, the individual may place in mind conditions, suggesting that if a condition is met, then love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And if the condition is not met, then not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And let's say in a relationship or a friendship, business relationship, family relationship, if the external condition doesn't seem to be met, which is an illusion, they may think that they are not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. They cannot experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And they may project, you could say, this bias onto another individual, suggesting that they are not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, that they cannot experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, which is an illusion. And by that I mean very specifically is we inquire, who is it that suggests that they, the other person, or the relationship is not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, based, as in the sure foundation is not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Those thoughts are what we can refer to as I thoughts. I thoughts. You know, I created this communication program a while back. You may be a student of my communication program. And one of the things that we had learned when I was learning consultative sales, copywriting, and direct response marketing, while I was building my IT business, is the saying, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And the teaching was essentially to put yourself in the position of being the prospect or the client and consider that they are inquiring in relation to what you are communicating, what's in it for me. Now, the sales professional or the entrepreneur may also be thinking like that. They may be thinking, what's in it for me? So I said, well, what's another way of looking at it? If what we're interested in entrepreneurship is harmonious relationships, not trying to say some things or pretend to be a particular way or put on a false persona, more specifically, put on a false persona in order to get the deal, which then, let's say you get the deal, you say whatever to get the deal, and then there's buyer's remorse or something like that. What would be a more harmonious way? Build on the sure foundation that I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, that I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. So I said, what if we transcend the illusions of I, as in, what's in it for me? Or they're asking the question, what's in it for me? And I ask the question, what's in it for me? What if I transcend the illusions of I? The illusions of I. The illusions of separation. And say, what's in it for we? As in, this relationship is in harmony and there is always harmony points. And all we're doing is having a conversation, verbal, nonverbal, and arriving to the harmony points where we agree. And that's the deal we move forward with. So I created that program, if you're interested in it, the communications program, on the foundation of what's in it for we. Transcending the illusions of I. The illusions of I are the conditions placed in mind, conditions placed upon consciousness in mind, which suggest a condition needs to be met. And then, let's say a person may try to say things in order to get that condition to be met. Or if the other person does not conform, let's say, to their conditions, then they say that they are not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. The other person is not love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, which is an illusion. So, as mentioned, existence is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. There is no higher love than the love of God. There is no higher happiness than the happiness of God. There is no higher peace than the peace of God. There's no higher bliss than the bliss of God. There's no higher fulfillment than the fulfillment of God. So we can release these conditions. And what do I mean by, for example, there is no higher love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment than the love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment of God? Well, experientially, you feel it in the moment by being still. You do nothing to experience it. That's how profound the love of God is. You do nothing to experience it. All you do is experience it with people. You share it with people in harmonious relationships. So this removes the illusions of I, and it results in harmonious relationships. We could say, what's in it for we? So, at any moment, you cannot identify with thoughts of limitation, thoughts of separation, thoughts suggesting us versus them. This is a key. Us versus them. Because if an individual, and only the individual can identify with a thought, which is an illusory thought of us versus them, in mind, and place that condition, and thus experience relationships as, we could say, a theater of that belief. an illusory theater. And by that I mean very specifically, only love is real. Only happiness is real. Only peace is real. Only bliss is real. Only fulfillment is real. And at any moment, you can experience the love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment of God by doing nothing. So, as the individual is aware of the thought of us versus them, they acknowledge that they are not the thought. They are not that thought of limitation. They are not the thought of separation. That thought only appears in mind and, let's say, can appear to disappear. And as the individual allows that illusion of I-based thought, again, illusion of separation-based thought, to appear to disappear in mind, as in not identify with it, what happens is mind is purified and reality is experienced with the other individual as love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, acknowledging ultimately there is no other. Thus, we exist now perfectly as we are. Reality is perfectly in harmony as it is now. I am in harmony with you. You are in harmony with me. And we meet in the flow, experiencing flow together. And we could say, oh, that's a love-based, happiness-based, peace-based, bliss-based, fulfillment-based experience, relationship by doing nothing. And by that I mean very specifically. In the moment, let's say if there's a thought appearing in mind that suggests illusion of separation, don't identify with the thought. We experience no thought of limitation. And then inquire, where do I spring from? Where do I spring from? And immediate bliss is experienced, immediate happiness, experientially. It's an integrated experience, immediately in the moment. You don't have to do anything. Just abide as you are. Immediate love, immediate happiness, immediate peace, immediate bliss, immediate fulfillment. That is the love of God. That is the happiness of God. That is the peace of God. That is the fulfillment of God. That is the bliss of God. Existence consciousness bliss. Truth consciousness bliss. Being consciousness bliss in the moment. Sat Chit Ananda. And as we embody our true way of being, relationships are experienced accordingly, naturally. What you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you don't do, what they say, what they don't say, what they don't do, what they do, happens. Everything happens perfectly, perfectly to be in harmony. This is the perfect play of God. Only God is real. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment is real. Anything that suggests otherwise is an illusion and appears to disappear. I trust you notice this as well as you've been practicing this. Essentially, we could say, remain in your flow. Yet, how does the individual access the flow? The flow of love, the flow of happiness, the flow of peace, the flow of bliss, the flow of fulfillment in relationships? By not trying to control the other person, by not trying to play mind games, by not trying to put on a persona, judge the other person, judge yourself, put on a persona. Rather, letting them be perfectly as they are. Allowing yourself to be perfectly as you are. Allowing the relationship to be perfectly as it is now. Mind is purified. The subconscious mind is purified from these conditions that are placed in mind. These conditions placed upon consciousness. And reality is experience. Pure consciousness. As it was in the beginning, now, and ever shall be. Perfect as it is now. You know, one of my favorite translations of Genesis 1:3, I brought this up in a recent video. If you haven't seen it, I'll link in the description to it. is the Aramaic translation, Peshitta Aramaic translation. And God said, the light shall be, and the light was. So let the light be. The light shall be, and the light was. The light is pure consciousness. You don't need to do any special technique, nothing. You simply don't identify with the thought of separation, the thought of limitation, and accept yourself the way you are now, perfectly as you are now. Immediate love, immediate happiness, immediate bliss, immediate fulfillment, immediate peace. And you can do this anywhere. I have, over the years, applied this during conversations. So again, that's why I created that program, What's in It for We? So rather than looking at it as what's in it for you or what's in it for me, and you're thinking what's in it for me and what's in it for Joseph, confusion, and then coming up with ways of trying to figure it out. Let the love of God take care of everything for you. Let the peace of God, the happiness of God, the fulfillment of God take care of everything for you. By doing nothing. Simply accepting yourself in the moment. Every moment is a moment to celebrate God, we could say. How do you celebrate God? By doing nothing. You celebrate God, you can say, by existing as you are. Be as you are. Not for this or that external reason. Not because you have X amount of dollars in the bank account or Y amount of dollars in the bank account. You have a relationship with this person or not. You drive this car, don't drive a car. Not because of any external reason. The joy of simply being. That is enough. In other words, you are enough. And we could say infinitely enough as by doing nothing. Experientially, it's embodied love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. It is far greater than anything that I can try to do to give myself love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. I don't need to try to do anything to give myself love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. I am love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. You are love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. That's what I mean in the beginning when I mention I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. Reality is perfect as it is now. You are perfect as you are now. I am perfect as I am now. As I remain as I am, perfect as I am, love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. What's interesting is love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment plays out in relationships in ways that are very, let's say, wonderful, increasingly wonderful. As the infinite greatness of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, which is available now, in this moment, the infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, by not identifying with thoughts of limitation, thoughts of separation, the illusions of I. These are illusions of I. They're certainly not illusions of God. Only God is real. Love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Illusions of I can suggest conditions need to be met in order to experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. And as you and I are no different, I am in harmony with you, you are in harmony with me, it plays out as love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment-based experiences in the flow with each individual, family, friends, business, with increasing frequency, as in it compounds. There is infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Infinite. Available now. There is no limitation to God. The love of God, the peace of God, the happiness of God, the bliss of God, the fulfillment of God. These are great pointer words that point to God, which is beyond condition in mind, beyond limitation of what I can imagine in mind. What is experienced naturally is wonderful relationships, wonderful life experiences with the other individual or group of individuals, if, for example, you're in a mastermind, with each other, greater and greater degrees, we could say, of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. See, the illusions of I, the individual, may have placed these illusions of I in mind, suggesting that if the condition is met, then love, then happiness, then peace, then bliss, then fulfillment, and they go seeking for that condition to be met. And that results in suffering. Let's say if they do happen to have that condition met, they may form an identity around those conditions. What we're talking about here is you exist beyond this identity construct, which is made up of beliefs of condition. The individual identified with this identity construct seeks for conditions to be met and even generates further illusions of I. All of that can stop in an instant as you acknowledge that you are not that identity construct. You transcend the thoughts of limitation. Void of thought. No thought. In that moment, immediately, as you inquire, who is aware of this void that I witness? God is experienced. That's what I mean when I say there is no love greater than the love of God, the happiness of God, the peace of God, the bliss of God, the fulfillment of God. Now, as the individual experiences immediate love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, that love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment is emotionally felt, physically felt. You don't have to physically do anything or try to evoke emotions or try to think thoughts. Immediately, it is done for you by grace, the grace of God. So, in the moment, by doing nothing, literally doing nothing, it's very precise why I say do nothing. Because if I say you need to do this or that, try this or that too, experience, then the individual now forms an identity around those appearances. What I have found is I do nothing. I completely let the world be. I completely let myself be. I completely let them be. And love is embodied. Happiness is embodied. Peace is embodied. Bliss is embodied. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Fulfillment is embodied. Complete fulfillment, as you are completely fulfilled. Which is why I say, I am desireless. Only the individual can, let's say, desire to have a wonderful, harmonious relationship. Nothing wrong with them for desiring to have a loving, harmonious relationship. They acknowledge that they found it in the form of desire. They have a loving, harmonious relationship. Anytime a desire arises, it's an acknowledgement of having. Thus, I can desire to be as I am. You see it? If I desire a loving, harmonious relationship, I found that I have a loving, harmonious relationship. Loving, harmonious friendships. Loving, harmonious business. I found it in the form of desire. So I accept myself. An immediate bliss, immediate love, immediate happiness. I feel love. I feel happiness. I feel peace. I feel bliss. I feel fulfillment. Yet, those feelings are arising from the infinite source that is available now by doing nothing. The infinite source. God is the infinite source of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. beyond limitation-based conditions placed upon God, beyond limited concepts of God. It is experienced. And then it plays out. You could be out and about, you could be traveling, you could be in relationships with friends, family, and they appear to transform. The relationships appear to transform. The relationships in romantic life appear to transform. How wonderful is that? Before I thought, which is an illusory thought, I thought that they needed to do something, they needed to not do something in order to experience love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment in the relationship. And if they didn't do it, I was thinking that I was lacking something, which played out as conflict. So I stopped thinking that I lack love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. No thought of lack. And I received within love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Infinite love, infinite happiness, infinite peace, infinite bliss, infinite fulfillment within for no reason. And not just in those moments. When I'm out and about right now, for example, when I'm having this conversation with you, for no reason at all. While I do the things that I love to do, and spontaneously, whatever it is that I'm doing, spontaneous love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Now, with respect to relationships transform because I don't need to put a wall up or a guard up and, let's say, speak in a way to try to convince this person that this persona that I identify with is the best persona and that they need to fall in love with this persona, which is an illusion. So then, what does this practically play out as the individual acknowledges that they receive love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment within? They do nothing to give themselves love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment. Or as Neville Goddard once said, you need no helper to give it to you. What is it experienced as practically in relationships? Well, let's say you flow. Your relationships appear to be more harmonious. You don't force yourself to be a particular way to impress a person. It's we-based conversations. We-based. The communication, the language is we-based, we could say. What's in it for we? Ooh, here's an opportunity to find a harmony point. Or, oh look, there's a harmony point. Or look, it happens. It happens that we are both doing the thing that we genuinely desire to do. What's in it for we? So rather than what's in it for them, what's in it for me versus them, what can I get out of it? What if they get more and I get less? Or these kinds of illusory thoughts of now I need to play these psychological games, etc. Tricks and manipulation, strong-arming, for example, in business. Which the individual does not need to do that. I built 3 successful businesses by applying what we're talking about here, which is acknowledging that people appear to be in harmony with you. You appear to be in harmony with them. I am in harmony with you as you are in harmony with me. So I trust you found this video to be helpful. Let's conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You can say, as I am in harmony with you, you are in harmony with me. Thus, we appear to be in harmony with each other, existing as perfect love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment, receiving within infinite love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment now for no reason, experiencing together the fruits of love, happiness, peace, bliss, fulfillment as harmonious relationships, harmonious friendships, harmonious conversations, harmonious life experiences, appearing to inspire all to appear to be in harmony with us, with increasing frequency on a continuous basis as far as the senses perceive.